Let's talk about water bottles. Hey everyone, Dylan Schumacher, Citadel Defense, and we're here today to talk about water bottle choices. Now, right from the outset, let's just say during the summertime, during the warm months, my favorite way to carry water on my gear is a bladder. I use a water bladder. I use a Camelback, it's 3 liters typically, and that's my preferred way to carry water. Why? Well, one, it's pretty convenient, fits in my pack. 2, it allows me to drink while I'm moving, right? So I can drink water while I'm moving. In general, that's my preferred method. That being said, I live in the north, and because I live in the north, there comes a time when water bladders are just not viable for, I don't know, 4 to 6 months out of the year, kind of depending where you live in the north and just what the temperatures are that year, and et cetera, et cetera. Additionally, I usually like to carry a water bottle on my chest rig, right? I usually like to carry that, and then I have a total of a gallon of water on me between the 3 in my pack, the 1 on my chest rig, and I know I'm pretty set for a while. I'm pretty good to go. So when it comes to water bottle choices, we're going to talk about why you would choose one thing over the other, what works better for you, and what decisions you should make here. So I'm sure you're well aware, but just so we're all on the same page, there's a couple advantages to water bottles, right? Plastic, metal, whatever, we'll get into that. But the first thing is, of course, they're hard-sided, right? This is not going to puncture or leak on you like a water bladder will, or can, I guess. Honestly, I've never had one burst. I've always heard horror stories, but I mean, I've never had mine burst, and I haven't been gentle to it, so take that for what it's worth. I think modern ones are pretty good to go, assuming you buy a quality one. Like I said, I only have ever really run Camelbacks, so that's all I can really speak to, and I've been pretty happy so far. But this isn't going to break on you. These are hard-sided plastic. This is very difficult to puncture. You could run a knife through it, I guess, or it could take a bullet or something like that. But outside of that, they're very hard to break. And that's nice, right? That's just nice. Also, if one does break, only 1 quart is lost versus all of your water, right? So there's certainly advantages to that. The other thing, and the other reason I like them, is for cooking purposes. If I want to make a cup of tea, or I want to, cook some pasta, or whatever little field meal concoction that I've cooked up, it's a lot easier to distribute water from a canteen and just pour it into a cup than it is to extract it from my water bladder, right? That's kind of a pain. So for that reason, if only for that reason, I almost always have a quart of water on my chest rig so that I could always pull it off and use that to make my tea, coffee, field meal concoction, whatever it is that I'm doing. It's just much easier that way. Hand it off to a buddy, etc. So I've been experimenting with different types of water bottles over the past couple years, trying to find kind of the best fit for me. Now, one thing I will say is that your water choices in general of how you're going to carry it, and your water bottle choice specifically, since this video is about water bottles, will vary somewhat depending on your gear and your preferences, right? Like, there's a matter, part of it is you just choose what you like, and I totally understand that. The other part of it is, depends on what your gear can carry. For example, I have the Becker Patrol Pack, which I'm a big fan of. And it has 2 pouches on the side. If you're not familiar, you should look it up. Becker Patrol Pack from Bongo Gear. It's basically an Alice modded pack, and the best one in my opinion. But it has 2 large side pouches, and it can fit up to a 48-ounce water bottle in each one of those side pockets with the canteen cup. So that's pretty good, big deal, right? Like, I can carry a lot of water. It can also fit this 50-ounce canteen bottle here in the side pouches. Again, 50, 64, half gallon. So it can fit a lot of water. And so that gives me more options to choose from of how I'm going to carry water in that ruck specifically. Your pack might not do that, right? You might not have that kind of pouch, or you might not want to use that pouch in such and such a manner, and that will, of course, dictate some of your choices. So we're going to start over here with the plastics, or the traditional water bottle features, right? So here I have a Army Green, or just a standard Army one, and a standard Army one with an NVC cap, right? Perfectly good way to carry water, by the way. Probably the cheapest method if you want to carry water bottles, right? You can get some surplus pouches that are Canteen pouches, excuse me, some surplus Canteen pouches. It's gonna fit in there. Almost everyone designs a pouch or a form factor around this. This fits in the Spectre chest rig. This fits in my Whitmore chest rig. I've designed things around this, right? Why? Because chances are, if you're watching this, you have several of these, right? You have them already. So therefore, it's kind of become the standard, and lots of people just design around them for that reason, so they can easily fit into all your different gear sets. So that's really nice. That's really nice to have. Downside, I mean, they're even kind of kidney shaped, which is kind of cool because they're originally meant to fit, back here. My gun's on that side, that's not going to work. Originally meant to fit back here on your kidney pad, So perfectly functional, 100% great, super cheap, super available, etc., okay? I got this one with my Mira safety mask. I don't even know, the only reason this one's out here is because I like that this is a smaller form factor. This is something like 750 milliliters versus like a full quart. So it's slightly less, and it just fits in my chest rig just a little bit better. And I like that. I like that size. I like that it's an NBC cap. This one specifically, this cap always comes loose all the time, which kind of sucks. But I like the form factor of this one a little bit better. And so a lot of times this one will ride in my chest rig simply because of the form factor. I don't need to max carry water, right? If I already have 3 liters in my ruck, this is just kind of an add-on extra anyway. And so to have that better form factor, I like that. Like I said, my only downside with this one is that the top sucks. Maybe I need to develop a better one here and sell that to you because it'll be superior. So that's a lot. I like those options. These come with Canteen cups. I don't have anyone out here right now because I actually gave it to my son. That's what he runs for his Canteen cup. But they come with a pairing Canteen cup, right? Again, gonna fit in a lot of different pouches, in a lot of different places. And then you can use the Canteen cup in conjunction. So that's cool, that's wonderful. I have this one here. This is a 50-ounce Camelback, and it is a kind of shoot style deal. I'll put a link to these and all the other ones here in the description below, so you can, if one of these tickles your fancy, you can go for it. I got this one initially. I had 2 of these. I lost one. I left it behind on a trip I went on. But I got these because I wanted to carry more water in that Becker Patrol Pack, right? To be able to have the extra capacity to carry 100 liters of water, which is essentially, 3 quarts, in my pack during the winter was my thought. The other thing I like about this one is it has a wide mouth opening, which means that if this were to freeze in the winter, I can get my blade out, I can chip the ice out, right? Ideally, you want to stage your canteens upside down so when it freezes from the bottom, right? Then I tip it over and I have usable water. But I like that idea that it had a wide mouth canteen. I could chip it out. It just seemed to work better for me. The bummer about this one in particular is it has no gradations, so I don't actually know how much is in here. That's unfortunate because when it comes to things like purifying the water, how many tablets do I put in here, right? Well, I don't, probably 2. You don't really know. You just are kind of guesstimating depending on how full this is and what your best guess is. So that's a little suboptimal. But for just raw carry capacity, again, price, I think these are like $18 or $19. Not bad, right? Not bad. It's going to be bulletproof. It's going to work out. It's going to carry a bunch of water. I can distribute it easily. I can drink out of it. I can cook with it. Blah, blah, blah. Super nice. I believe even the standard Canteen cup for like 32-ounce water bottles goes in here. I don't have my 32-ounce water bottles out here right now because I'm borrowing those, or I'm lending them. I never get those words right, to a friend. And they're using them. But otherwise, I have those too. Those also, by the way, fit in a Spectre chest rig because I know a lot of you have those 32-ounce just Nalgene bottles. Those are our plastic options. As I've kind of grown in the last years, I've gone more to metal. Why? Well, the microplastics thing kind of freaks me out. Anything I can do to generally decrease my exposure to plastic, I'm usually a fan of, right? So if I can get away from that, I try to, just for general health purposes. I plan on living as long as I can, healthily. So, that's always a good choice. So that's led me to the stainless steel and titanium area. Now, there's a couple things. Let's start with titanium. There's a couple things to say about it. One, you can boil it. I have boiled this one here, I think we'll be able to see that, multiple times, right? It's got a little love on it because I have just used this to boil water. I've unscrewed the lid because you gotta let that vapor release. Also, this has a silicone gas seal on it. You don't want to burn that. And I'll just drop that, set it in the fire, let it boil, and then I'll use that and I'll pour it back into my Canteen cup to make oatmeal or, again, my tea or whatever it is that I'm doing. That's super nice to be able to do. You got to carry a piece of leather with you or a leather glove. I did sear a piece of cheap glove to this once. That was good. Lucky I didn't burn my skin. But it's really nice to be able to boil water. That's also super helpful, not only just for cooking general purposes stuff, but also for purification stuff, right? If I were to go fill this and then boil it for 10 or 20 or 30 minutes, that's cool. I'm going to be able to kill a lot of most pathogens doing that. That's really nice. And then I could simply seal it up, drop it back in its Canteen cup so I don't burn any of my kit, drop it in its gear, and I'm good to go. The titanium cools off very quickly. It does not hold heat. That's also super nice because I'm not gonna, again, burn my gear out just by dropping this into my kit in a couple minutes after it's been boiling. That's cool. Again, the Canteen cup is extra protection. Now you could say, listen, Dylan, I could do that with these ones, right? I could just pour it in the cup and I could boil it off the Canteen cup and now I have purified water in the Canteen cup. You could. It's just more of a hassle because now if you need to transport that water somewhere else, right, that's more of a hassle. And yes, we can use, like I mentioned earlier, we can use iodine tablets and filters and we can all the other things. I just like having the option to boil both for cook and purification, and being able to have that option if I want it feels like a free win. The other thing I like about titanium is this isn't, that I don't like, by the way. It's very loud on the cap. That's really annoying. I will be honest about that. The other thing I like about titanium is it's extremely light. If we weigh this one, we are coming in at 5.1 ounces, okay, for the standard Army Canteen. For the titanium, we're looking at 5.9 ounces. So almost a full ounce more in weight. But when we compare it to stainless steel is coming in at a gargantuan 11.8 ounces. Same capabilities, titanium's just half the weight, right? So that's a pretty big deal when you start talking about weight. So I like that. The other thing I like about this titanium, this is a boundless voyage, again, I'll put the links down below, is that it's a pretty wide mouth. Again, I can fit my blade in there, I can chip it out. Yes, I should be staging it upside down and all that stuff, but pretty good deal. The weight to performance ratio for titanium is wonderful. The problem, of course, is cost, right? I also have the titanium 1 quart more traditional Canteen size, like a Nalgene kind of bottle here, right? And this one's coming in at 8.8 ounces. So this is significantly heavier. I'm betting most of that is in this cap because this cap is pretty solid titanium. I mean, the cap alone weighs a solid 2 ounces. So the cap is significantly heavier for this one. Wider mouth, wider material, right, etc. But again, still affords me all the benefits of titanium, which again, if I were to get the same thing in stainless, it's just going to be heavier because that's just how it is, right? So I've liked these titanium options quite a bit for, again, being able to boil, being able to carry water, being able to, in the winter particularly, if this were to freeze and I were to just heat it up real quick, I'm gonna get rid of that. Or if I know I'm gonna be moving a lot today, right, I could boil these at the beginning of the day, seal them up, toss them in my pack, and now they're less likely to freeze as I move throughout the day. I like all of those options. I also like not getting microplastics. The downside with titanium, of course, is the cost. They're just gonna cost a lot more money, and that just sucks because it's titanium. So that's where stainless steel comes in, because you pay in weight, but you don't pay in dollars, and you get all the same benefits, right? So these are the Pathfinder 1 quart Canteen. I think this is like 39 ounces or something. I think it's over a quart. But again, this one is coming in much heavier. As we said earlier, I think it was something like 11. It's 11.8 0.8 is what it's weighing in at right now. Might have been 0.9 earlier. So much heavier. However, much cheaper dollars wise. That's nice. They have, this is the Pathfinder gear one. They have redesigned this Canteen cup I saw recently, which is great because right now it has this stupid slider thing on the back here, and that slides down, and there's been multiple times where that's happened, right? Where I've picked it up, I've had everything in it, and it just dumps my whole thing out. I emailed them to ask if I could buy just their new cup without this stupid thing, and they told me you can't do that, and that's unfortunate. So that's a bummer. But the new design seems much better because it's a traditional butterfly handle like this one, right? And that's not going to just magically dump on you. That's a better system. I think the original idea on this one, just since we're here, was that you could stage this up. If I can get it staged, I hate this thing. Stage this up, and then they put these rings on here so that you could use that to run a long stick through or something like that, right? And so I could have a field expedient handle to move this around. Great idea in theory, but in practice, like I said, this thing will just dump on you, and if that gets any lift whatsoever, it just dumps. Had it dump on me multiple times. Also, the problem here is that because of the stages on the bottom, it doesn't really sit flat. Like there's a wobble versus that one, right? So I don't like that handle design. I'm glad they changed it. I'm just bummed that I have one of the old stupid ones, and I would like the new one. Maybe I'll upgrade at some point. I don't know. Again, the other thing I will say here, sorry, about this Pathfinder one is super wide mouth. Again, I can get my blade in there. I can tip it over. They did a good job on the design there. Super wide mouth. In case you're wondering, this one does fit in the Spectre chest rig on the GP pouches. Not as well, I will say. Both of these struggle slightly more just because they are wider. I think this one's like 34 ounces or something. I can't remember. But they're both over a quart size. And they're just not as svelte and smooth as the plastic ones. They will work though. You can get them in there. That brings us to our last one, which is this Pathfinder gear. Now this one I have not used yet. So there's a little bit of theory in here. All of these other ones I've used in the field multiple times. Maybe not this one, actually. So there's a mix of theory and actual real world use here. But I got this because it's a half gallon. And I got 2 of them. And so I could carry easily a gallon of water in my ruck. Particularly I like this during the winter time. Again, if I really want to max out my water capacity for whatever reason, this is what I'm going to go with, because I can always boil it. I can always cook with it. It comes with this massive 48-ounce Canteen cup, which, I mean, this has a lid too. I mean, you could make yourself a personal pasta meal in here, right? And so that's cool. I like being able to have that option to be able to carry that and just have total capacity, total ability. I can drink out of it. Again, I can cook out of it. I have a huge pot, so I can carry it, or I can make a meal in it. Like, that's really cool. Now, this does weigh in at a total of 11.9 ounces. So ironically, these two weigh the same. This carries twice as much water as this one, but they weigh the same amount, right? It's kind of curious. It's kind of funny. I'd be curious to know what the next gen of these weighs. I'd be curious if it's still the same or not. But this is really nice because it can carry a lot of water, cook big food in big pot. Problem, there's not a lot that's designed to carry this, right? Again, unless you have something like a Becker Patrol Pack that has a pretty good slip pocket for that, not everything is designed around that. I think about the Crossfire gear rucks where they put those slip pockets on the bottom of the ruck. They're designed typically around the quart Canteen. This, because it's a circle, is just not going to fit very well in a lot of, like a slip pocket, forget it. You're not going to carry this in a chest rig, it's just too heavy. So for most of you, you're probably looking at just setting this in your ruck, right? Unzipping the main compartment of your ruck, making sure it's sealed well, and then setting it in there, right? That's probably what you're looking at, which means that when it comes time to get it, you have to open your ruck up, you have to get this out, you can cook with it, you can refill your other water bottles, you can do whatever, but just not as overall convenient. When it comes to carrying a lot of water and cooking with it, yep, super convenient. It's gonna work. I'm excited to try it. I think it's gonna be a big winner for me, for my current pack system and setup. And that's where, again, a lot of this becomes personalized with how you wanna carry your water, what your general water plan is. Both for like initial step off and then long-term sustainment, refilling, whatever. And if you're like, my plan is to have my buddy drive in with a Jeep and drop off cases of water that I'm just gonna refill my water bottles with, well, you know, hey, more power to you. But I am moving more towards the metal these days, in general, when I can, because of the added option, and I think that word is very important. It gives me the option to be able to boil, cook, etc. more than my plastics do. Also, again, don't like the microplastics. It doesn't mean I'm gonna necessarily take that option. It just means that it's nice to have, and if I can have it, why wouldn't I, right? So that's kind of the current water bottle landscape, current view of all the water bottles. I hope this is helpful and it helps give you ideas of how you wanna think about carrying water and how you wanna think about refilling, sustainment, cooking, boiling. You know, it might sound silly, but having a cup of hot tea or hot coffee or hot cocoa even in the field, one, in the winter is near essential, but even in the summer is a morale boost, and that really shouldn't be underestimated. Hope this gives you something to think about. How do you carry water? You know, let me know. Enlighten us with your brilliant wisdom. Do brave deeds and endure.